Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd, and we're going to see some photos from Fayetteville and a few places outside the city today. And these are all a couple of weeks old. That's inside the city, though. That's a groundhog right there in my neighborhood, World Peace Wetland Prairie area. And that was a baby that came into my yard to eat all my green plants. That's Bill Alexander. He was a U.S. representative back in 1991 when this photo was taken, and he was actually holding one of my dogs. She's long since gone. That was Banagant's Albunique Who. Anyhow, here we go. This is a beautiful fire pink native wildflower that adorns the woods and along the prairie edges in thickets all over northwest Arkansas, wherever the native plants haven't been wiped out. So here's another native wildflower, and it's a close-up. I confess to adjusting and cropping to get it this big. Same thing with this one. This one's a very tiny native wildflower, and it's blown up a bit. Here you can see what it looks like blown up even more with a tiny ant on it. Sometimes there are ants and other things even smaller that you just never can quite get to look in focus. This is a native milkweed. This was blooming 3 weeks ago, nearly when you see it on the cable channel in Fayetteville, Arkansas, 218. And it is quadrifolia, Asclepias quadrifolia. And that means it has 4 leaves coming off the same part of the stem. There you can get a look at how that looks down the stem. See the 4 leaves. That's different from many milkweed plants. It's different among the many species of milkweed. You have some with alternate leaves and some with leaves that are 2 across from each other, just all kinds of ways. But anyway, this 4-leaved milkweed, or Asclepias quadrifolia, is a beautiful spring beauty in the Ozarks. Okay, there's the roof of John Rule's house. John Rule has lived out there in that house for nearly 40 years, and it's at the end of a road in the Ozarks, very hard to get to. It's near Frog Bayou. In fact, he has property on both sides of Frog Bayou. And yes, that was a green roof. The sod's on top of the roof, and it catches some water, of course, and it keeps the house cool in summer and warmer in winter. It takes less to heat and cool it because he has no natural gas, no electricity, no running water, no access to the internet, no phone service, even with a cell phone. Nobody's got any wires or pipes out there to his house. Okay, this is actually growing on World Peace Wetland Prairie, and this one too. You can tell that was back when we had rain. We've sort of hit a drought spell right now. I hope it doesn't last, but that's the way it goes. We get too much rain, then we have too little. But there's not necessarily a native, but maybe a cultivar of a native iris. And so many of the irises that are so large and showy that people have are not the natural wild native irises. And some of them are transported from other nations. Okay, that's, I believe we're looking at blackberry, yeah. And now we're looking at the thorny tree, locust tree with the thorns on it. And it's got a beautiful flower, and not everybody likes those trees, but anyway, the flowers are beautiful. That's the Streamside Protection Ordinance, and it just shows the map there. And you can learn about it by getting a manual of best management practices from the City Planning Division. That's out on Hogeye, the road almost out to Hogeye, Cato Springs Road. It was flooded there a couple of 2.5 weeks ago, and you can see the people working in between those two spots. That's looking south. The first one was looking north. They can't get out for a while that day and thought they might have to spend the night. Anyway, this is a Coast Guard license plate. If you're a veteran, you can get one. Army veteran, Coast Guard veteran as I am, you can get one for $375 with the name of your service on it. It's a bargain. Till next time, this is Aubrey Shepherd asking you to do your part to help keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green. See ya. Hi, I'm Aubrey Shepherd, and we want to share some photos, 22 photos as fast as we can. Okay, that's out near Interstate 540 about 3 weeks ago as you watch this, and you can see the flooding. That water is coming from near the Walmart on US 62 and under the interstate. Also, much of that water is coming from up to the north along the interstate. So there are all kinds of developments out there, and a lot of that work that the highway department was doing there was allowing the muddy water to flow in. You can see there that there's a silt fence that comes into the water and comes out at the other end, and it's not having any function at that point. So stream erosion control, stormwater this heavy, is just about impossible, and the gadgets that are successful in a light rain just don't work. And that's what happens when you have a lot of disturbed soil for construction. And it's unfortunate, but that's the Arkansas Highway Department, and Department of Environmental Quality can't do anything about the way they operate anyway. So they're just thinking they're doing okay until this hits. So you have a lot of damage to a lot of infrastructure. They probably had to do some things over on some new construction in several places because of this. And certainly they lost pole bridges, culverts washed out, all sorts of road problems occurred during the heavy flooding. There's a snail, beautiful little snail. Show that snail from 2 or 3 angles. It's on last year's growth of something. Can't remember the name of that plant either, but it's growing out there on Pinnacle Wet Prairie, just west of World Feast Wetland Prairie. And I guess I like snails more than most people. I don't eat them, don't cook them, and I leave them where I find them if they're not bothering anything as a rule. And there you can see how beautiful the snail's shell is. And of course that's a cropped close-up to try to get more detail to show. And I just really wish you could use a magnifying glass over some of these items. That's on Hill Avenue. That's 11th Street. You're looking east. You can see the water there coming down 11th from over toward the National Cemetery. And there's a house at 15th Street and Dunn, I believe it is. Anyway, it's an example of where the water was backed up trying to cross 15th Street in the town branch of the West Fork of the White River. There's a house that, the stream's behind the trees back there. You can't see the stream normally, but this was how much overflow you had. So, fortunately, most of the houses along there are built up pretty high, even though the oldest ones, some of them were built down pretty low, and even some relatively new ones were built far too low to the stream bank. That's at 11th Street, looking west toward South Duncan Avenue from Hill Avenue, and you can see that bridge there was completely underwater, and the water was almost the same level on the downstream side. And of course, it was closed for traffic at that time. There's a nice butterfly. Still haven't made many butterfly pictures. We're just now getting enough of the native plants in bloom that we can actually catch butterflies sitting still and nectaring. And as you go into June and July, those butterflies will be hanging in on the native plants, and all different species of insects will be laying their eggs there. You can see debris caught there at that same bridge after the water went down. You can see a log across there that I tried to pick up one end, and I said, nope, I'll wait till I get another guy to help me move this thing. Oh, there's an old cat. He's about 20 years old. He likes to follow me around and inspect the watershed. So he's been a watershed warrior before most cats in town were born. And there you can see that some stones, we showed a picture sometime last year when area was filled to support the street. And notice the only thing filled is the end of that little culvert pipe that goes toward the stream. And there's one of the Smith boys over there on South Duncan Avenue, out in the flooding on 11th Street. And there's Leif Kinberg's house, picture he put on Facebook. His house always gets it all the way around and underneath. Till next time, this Aubrey Shepherd asking you to help do your part to help keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green. See ya.